entrance or exit of a harbor here. Narrow entrance. Entrance to Elfin Cove? Nah.
I don't know.
Well,
Doesn't look familiar somehow.
I see there's a boat, but it's out of focus there, so we'll skip to the next one. And now, well, here's a bunch of markers. Yeah, a bunch of markers. And I don't, maybe it's Wrangell Narrows or something. That's a lot of markers.
Yeah, lots of markers.
Now we got a troller out here. Outside grounds, obviously. There's Mount Fairweather on the right side.
Yeah,
and
trying to figure out what boats that was.
Well, we can get right in here and see. And
Jeanette?
That is the Jeanette.
Huh?
Yeah, that's the Jeanette. Was that Plumley? No, who had that?
Maybe. Can't remember. Anyway, it is 48 feet long.
So it had
it looks like the hull looks like the Agile in many ways there.
It does, yeah.
But the house sure doesn't.
No. And that is the Jeanette. And boy, when you zoom in on it, you can see the mountain range behind it. Oh gosh, that was so beautiful.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That's a nice aerial shot here. Now I wonder what strip this is. That doesn't look familiar to me at all.
Sure is a runway.
Yeah, 2 of them. And I don't recognize it. It's from a jet? No.
Yeah, it looks like a jet engine, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's heading somewhere. Yeah, and it's nice when you get a bit of a view there. I'm just skipping through these pictures. And, yeah, mountains all the way from Alaska to Washington State. Oh, there's a glacier coming down, dropping down there.
Yeah.
Trying to recognize. I always look at these things and, compare it to the chart, Might be able to figure out where we are.
Man, look at all those mountains. This might be close to Juneau.
Might be looking into Glacier Bay or something too, or.
Well, maybe.
Well, that's moose. Now we're back on the ground, and I see moose. I see 2 of them.
Holy smokes! Where do you think that was?
Yeah, my guess is it's Alaska.
Yeah, but look, here's a
I wonder if it's Juneau.
2-lane road here.
Yeah. And then a 1-lane kind of dirt road that the moose are on there. I wonder. It still looks like southeast.
Yeah.
So,
did you take the picture?
No, this is all you, Dad. You took these pictures.
The hell.
So I don't know when.
Fantastic. Well, there's the old Neptune.
No, it can't be. Really? Oh my God.
Goddamn thing.
Well, I wonder where this picture is taken.
That's Einer.
That's me. Yeah, that's right. And I'm older here, so this must be down here in Washington State someplace.
No, it looks like it. Maybe down in Westport.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because you said that the Neptune was down there, after you had sold it.
Oh.
So let's talk about the Neptune now. This is our first picture of the Neptune.
Jesus.
So let's talk about this. So you grew up at Point Agassiz. You finally got off the farm when you went to the war.
Yeah.
And when you're discharged, then you got to do something for a living. And
I've been saving my money out of that too. When I got out of the service, I had a little bit, and I was looking for a boat, and goddamn. In Petersburg, that thing was laying. They'd been built in 1910, And there was a guy named Hasbrook that had it, and then there was the Reed brothers had it too, and I think I bought it from Hasbrook, and goddamn it, I'd saved my money, and I had about $3,000.
Wow.
And God, that was a lot of money in those days. And if I was going to get anything better, I needed about $12,000 at least, and I didn't have it, and I was afraid to borrow money, because my folks borrowed money when they bought that farm, and then the Depression set in, and 6% interest on $2,000 they owed all, and they're just barely able to pay the interest, year after year after year. And finally he went halibut fishing and got that $2,000 paid off. And oh God, I was just terribly afraid of being in debt, boy. And here that thing was for sale for not much money, and I bought it. God, Dad came back from a fishing trip, and he found out that I'd bought that goddamn thing, and he just was ferociously angry. But anyway, I rigged it up for salmon trolling, and I was out at Deer Harbor and places, and got into Juneau, and I don't know if it was October or the last part of September or something, and Brita lived out at Auk Bay, I don't know, out north of where the airport is there in Juneau. And Christ Almighty, I anchored up there and walked over to their place and visited, and came back and went to bed, and God damn it, there was a rock. I had no depth sounder, and the depth wasn't very much, but there was this goddamn rock, and I'd anchored almost on it. And the boat settled down on that thing, and big tide, so a big run out, and shit. I got the skiff down, and I got in the skiff, and it was about 5 o'clock in the morning. And finally it just slid off the rock and just filled up the whole stern, and under she went. Oh, Jesus. And then I went back up to Brita, and they lived about a quarter of a mile away. I told them the boat sank. And then shortly afterwards, a guy that lived right by where it sank there, for Christ's sakes, he knew that rock was there, and he didn't let me. You'd think that he would have told me, but here he came and said that the boat had sunk. He was sure that I was aboard it, but I was there. Well, anyway, I had insurance on it, and I should have just walked away from the whole thing. But God damn it, we got it ashore and patched it up and got it rebuilt in Douglas. And then I used it some more. And then then Art Seberg's mother, do you remember her?
No, I don't remember the mother. I just remember Art.
Well, anyway, she was fishing with Art, and he, I forget what boat he had at that time.
Sarah E.
Sarah E. Anyway, she decided to marry Ed Scott, and Ed had a little bit of a boat. If she was going to be fishing with him, he had to have a bigger boat. So he bought the Neptune and got her aboard there, for Christ's sake. and Art had Sarah E. And then there was another boat involved. Anyway, they decided to go out to Middleton Island. Ran all the way across the Gulf, and Ed Scott had Art's mother aboard there, and Art was alone on the Sarah E. And when they got, well, they'd been running a long time. They were probably past, kind of at least out to Cape St. Elias, and she said that Ed, my God, he'd been awake for so damn long. You know, she insisted that Art set her off so she could steer, so he could get some sleep. So Art eased up to the stern, and she hopped across, soft-nosed it there, and then Ed got some sleep. But man, I don't remember. Took that rotten old boat all the way up there. Goodness sakes.
Well, it was always a mystery to me. You would talk about the Neptune, and for me, actually, I'd never seen the Scenic. I remember the Agile being built.
Oh yeah.
I'd never even seen the Scenic. I of course I had, because I'd been on board it, you know, when I was a young one. But you know, 4 years old I was when the Agile was built, so I don't really have memories of the Scenic, but I have memories of walking up the keel of the Agile. But anyway, so I would hear the stories of the Scenic, and they were all magic to me because I'd never seen the boat. And then, of course, with the Neptune, the fact that, you know, here I am. Here's the first time I've ever seen a picture of me with the Neptune. You know, that's amazing to me, because it means it wasn't fictitious. It's not a unicorn. It actually existed, and there we are in Westport. So it's funny that I don't have memory of that, but it's nice to know that I was there.
Yeah.
The mystery boat. It's all solved now.
Anyway, Ed Scott had that thing, and Jesus, man. I was trying to remember. Took it across the ocean. Jesus.
Yeah, it doesn't look.
It ended up down at Graves Harbor,
Sure.
Down at Westport, I think.
Yeah, we think that this is the picture from Westport. So.
Yeah.
But you know what's funny? Something I always noticed was I always felt that the Alaskan boats, for some reason, to me, always seemed prettier. And I know that the Neptune, you know, you bought it in Alaska and had it in Alaska, but it's kind of homely looking. You know, the pilot house is kind of homely.
Oh, it's a hell of a looking thing.
And when you look at the boats that are next to it here,
yeah,
look at those. This is, yeah, it's in good company. Look at those wheelhouse windows, and they're the kinds of things where the proud builder gets off the boat and says, "I built the house myself." You hear people saying that, and you go like, "Yeah, I can tell." Anyway, boy, Dad, that's great to see.
Thin planking, and there's a better boat there.
Yeah, now we're looking at the Agile, and now this is out of sequence. You said thin planking on the Neptune?
Huh?
You said the Neptune had thin planking as well?
Yeah, very thin. I don't know if it was an inch and an eighth or something. God. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now we're out of sequence because I do have a whole string of pictures of the Agile, even when it was still without the house. I have pictures of it when it was still in the building and coming out of the building.
Oh yeah.
And then of course here now you're rolling it down to float the thing.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to that. Now we've got a picture of the Scenic again out to sea, and somebody's hauling in a tuna.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, earlier you had mentioned something about catching the tuna bug. So that was something that you didn't catch until you had a decent boat.
Yeah.
And how many years into the Scenic? What prompted the first tuna trip? Were you trolling salmon down off Washington, and somebody said, "Hey, come on out and fish tuna"?
I was out in the Fairweather grounds and listening to the radio. I don't know. I think I had the Scenic a few years before I went tuna fishing. But anyway, God, they were putting a whole damn day out in the Fairweather grounds with 6 lines and maybe get one fish, and very few boats around. They were all laying in Pelican drunk and just dead, hopeless. And here I was listening. I had a good radio. Sig Hansett was making radios, and here I was listening to those reports off the Columbia River and close to shore, getting about 50 and stuff a day, and so down I went, and from then on I just quit the Fairweather grounds about the middle of July there, and I just take right off, and I know where I dumped my salmon at, but anyway, didn't take long to. I probably went into Sitka and dumped off. But alone on the boat, Jesus. And I got away from all that rain and southeasters. Nice sunshine down here, and Bumblebee Seafoods had a cannery up the Astoria, and it was just wonderful. And I made some money besides, The price on the tuna was real low, though, in those days. It increased later on. Anyway, that got to be the thing. I just gave up there and went right down outside, and it didn't take long. About 2.5 days or something. And it's just a joy to pull those fish aboard. Didn't have to clean them, and man.
I agree with that. I enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
And blue water, and even though it was almost always choppy,
Yeah.
You didn't notice it as much.
That northwest wind.
Easy to forget sometimes about having to tie down the hatches and hang on at night.
Yeah.
Oof. But the days were good.
And then we weren't out very long. I had the iced fish. I had to figure on laying in there about 4 days before we could unload.
Wow.
You remember that?
No, we were much faster, by the time I was fishing with you. So that must have been early days, when you did this with the Scenic. Yeah. So when was the first time you did this? How many years into the Scenic?
I don't know.
So you had the Scenic for, I think you said 14 years. We figured out.
Yeah.
I think earlier we determined that, and so if you fished tuna on the Scenic for 10 years, I'm just trying to figure out when that the long lines and waiting was, because by the time you had the Agile and I was fishing with you, and I probably didn't tuna fish with you until I was 12, maybe 11.
Yeah.
But it was a whole other world, and there was no waiting, and we would go into Bumblebee, and it was always a hassle to unload at Bumblebee. But later on, we started unloading at Waco. And boy, they would come down and unload the boat for you. And there was no waiting.
Yeah.
That place, Jesse's, they figured out how to get the business.
Yeah.
And it wasn't as much fun as going to Astoria, because Astoria was the big city.
Yeah.
But boy, it was quick and easy.
Yeah.
And then you had to, when we went into unload it at Jesse's, I remember some foggy days going in there. Remember, you had to navigate your way carefully to get into that little harbor, and they had sticks, because it was a river entrance, right? There were sticks in the mud, and you had to kind of go between the sticks. And I remember being up on the bow deck on a particularly foggy day, and you were steering, and even you weren't happy about the situation because it was a little too tight, But we were going stick to stick to stick until we could get up to where we could see. Holy crap! We would have just stuck in the mud, but you don't want to stick in the mud, man. Anyway, that tuna fishing was great. There's probably going to be some more pictures of that coming up. So,
you want to watch this, Ma?
She'll get to watch it. So now this is an interesting picture. We're going in order here. This is Bob Moen. You see that? And he fished with you one season on the Scenic.
Oh, yeah.
And what I noticed, because I just went through this, when Bob passed away, I went through this, and first of all, I thought, wow, he's standing there just like Eric. Isn't that something? He has that same posture as Eric.
Yeah.
But do you see the boat to his right, the boat on the left side of the picture? I recognized, and I had never seen that boat or a picture of it before, but I knew what it was. I'll zoom in on it here. And that is the Carmela J.
Oh, for God's sakes.
And I had never seen the Carmela J, but I know that the Agile was built on the Carmela J's blueprints. And so the blueprints that we've got are the Carmela J's blueprints. And isn't that something? And there you can see that square up and down bow, the one that you fixed for the Agile, but it didn't quite flare,
Yeah.
But, and this picture is taken, I don't know where. I can't tell what harbor this is.
It looks like Sitka.
Yeah, it does.
But there's Carmela J, so...
Well, it's a hell of a boat. It could be on its way someplace.
Oh, yeah. And that looks like the ice house.
Is this the one that burned down? Because there was a facility in Sitka that burned down, and then we weren't going to Sitka anymore, right? And we went to Pelican.
I see.
And then they rebuilt.
That looks like the...
Yeah, that is Sitka then.
Yeah.
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 The Carmela J.
Carmela J.
And you probably never knew that you had a picture of it. And this is when you had the Scenic.
Yeah.
So he fished on the Scenic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And doesn't he look like Eric? You know?
Yeah.
It's odd.
Yeah.
But it's just the same kind of stance.
Who is this guy?
That's Bob Moen, your nephew. Ostreed's son, Bob.
The hell?
And that's Sitka. So thanks for identifying that because, yeah, it's before the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's Sitka. Yeah.
You want to see this, Mom?
She can see it here.
I can see
She can
it
see it.
here.
You can sit here if you
And
like.
I have seen it.
Yeah.
You know.
Keep St. Alois. That's what the Norwegians called it. Cap St. Alois.
That I don't recall seeing. I know I've been past it, but
Has
What was it supposed to be called?
Cape St. Elias.
Oh yeah, Cape St. Elias.
Huh.
That's the closest they can say I come to St. Elias.
Well, here's nice lighting and a picture with the trollers out with their lines dragging behind.
In flat calm.
Flat calm, but you know the light is spectacular.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a nice picture, Dad. Let's see who these guys are. Boy, that's a heck of a way to store a skiff. Not much room. I don't know that boat. In the middle, and I don't know that boat to the left of it either, or to the left.
No.
Okay, let's see what we got. Is that the Sarah E? No.
No.
It's got a split level pilot house there.
That's a St. Nicholas, maybe.
It is. It is that.
Yeah.
I've never seen that boat.
It was a Sitka boy. It was a big thing.
Yeah, it looks it.
It was a big boat.
Wow.
I think Bill Swanson had it.
I don't know that name.
Bill Swanson.
Now
There's a Canadian Pacific
That's
liner.
got to be the Princess Patricia, because it's the sister to the Marguerite, right? Yeah, that's I because I know the Marguerite, and that's got to be the Pat. Let's see if we can see the name. Nope. Name fuzzes out. I'll look at the stern here. Nope. But anyway, that's no doubt what it is, because you and I can remember running south with you one time in the night, and we passed the Patricia coming up, and it had announced itself, because we were going through some narrows.
Oh, yeah.
And boy, it was so we had to pull over to the side and let it pass, and it was spectacular. That's what boats are supposed to look like.
Yeah. They traveled good.
All gone now.
Oh boy, here's Sitka.
Yep, now back to Sitka and
two water towers.
And those are on the other side.
Yeah.
Norget, and this one here has two names. Norget, Forget. And I can't read. Northern Cross. Okay, the one on the right there is the Northern
that
Cross.
Torget?
Torget. Okay, no kidding. A boat called Torget. Yep.
Yeah, but that could that's been in Sitka? No, that's not Sitka.
It's got to be. Sure, that's Sitka. Although that is.
I remember that Torget. I remember that name there.
Yeah, it looks a little more modern. That Northern Cross looks old. There's the Scenic at anchor with the that one that you identified, the big one from Sitka behind you.
St. Nicholas?
St. Nicholas. And you must have been in the rowboat. But where the heck are you anchored? You're wide open.
Yeah.
Wonder what's going on. And your poles are up.
Yeah.
What the heck? You're way out to sea, it looks like. I see mountains in the background. You know, right here.
Yeah.
Huh. Let's see if the next... Yeah, go ahead.
Huh?
I was wondering if the next picture will tell us something, or did you notice something? We'll take a look at the next picture. Nope, tells us nothing. But this next picture here is your nephew Bob holding a big king salmon.
Oh yeah, boy, that's a dandy.
Yeah. On the Scenic.
Yeah.
And here we are back in Sitka again, and this is that Carmela J.
Yeah.
You can just see the Agile, you know, precursor. What's it? Tied next to the Becky. I'm surprised that even back then there were so many of the pleasure boats, you know, little small ones around, you know.
Yeah.
God, look at this old rotten thing here. It looks like a lifeboat.
What's this one? Skeeter? Yeah.
Yeah, Skeeters. You know,
Skeeter.
who had that one? I've never heard of it.
Carmela J.
Carmela J.
By golly.
That's a nice shot.
I had double windows here, didn't I, on this scene?
Yeah, you had, because you had, this one had a stateroom, and you didn't have a stateroom.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like this one had the galley. Is that possible? Because this one would have had an outdoor head. It would not have had the head inside, you know, like you did. So this would have been a stateroom here, and then maybe they had the cook stove here.
Boy, that ice sure traveled a long ways there.
Oh, from the next picture? Oh my God, ice went through that chute all the way out to the end of the dock.
Oh.
Oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought about that. Huh. Well, this ice had to travel a long ways too.
Yeah.
That's an iceberg out in the open ocean. That we never saw, or I never saw. That's why you took the picture, probably.
Yeah,
Cross Sound.
long ways out there.
The Janus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's the Janus. That's the Janus before the one that he had when he passed away, I would think. The first Janus.
Yeah.
And an Alaska ferry. Probably both things are still up in Petersburg. This is Petersburg.
Yeah. Well, that mountain range is sure something. That's a Taku, I think.
Oh, the Taku, okay.
It never got lengthened. Boy, that's
back up in the air. Yeah, you wouldn't want to have to do a forced landing. That wouldn't be so
well,
good.
in those good old days, they didn't have helicopters to pick those people up back in the mountains there either.
No. But back then, you guys were real men. You could just walk out.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful steamer.
God.
Look at the nice bow on it.
Yeah.
No doubt another Canadian, huh?
Lots of portholes all along here.
So, and this is the, probably the...
It's a passenger liner.
Yeah, so it'd be like, left over from the habits of the gold rush days when people were taking the passenger liners up and down up to Alaska, right?
Yeah.
And probably by the time you took this picture, it was, these things were disappearing. People weren't taking passenger liners anymore. They were starting to fly.
Yeah.
Because this is probably 1960 or something like that. And this could be in Canadian waters too.
That's a Canadian ship.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so look at the plane you were on here. So there's a goose. I see a goose here to the left on his wheels.
It's probably in Ketchikan.
And there's a jet. So we've got a little bit of 3 eras of airline travel here now. Because we got the goose, which was used, in the bush and everything. And that was the real commuter for Southeast. And then you got, this looks like a Convair. It could be a DC, what?
DC-3?
DC-3 was a tail dragger, so I'd say DC-4. It has nose gear.
Didn't the DC-4 have 4 motors?
4 motors, yeah, might have.
Hey,
that's why I was originally thinking Convair. But
everything okay? Huh? You want to come up?
And then it looks like a 727.
Want to come up?
Yep, 727. Right there. So that's, for me, that's a very nice picture that you've got here.
Yeah.
That it has a little bit of everything from air travel in Alaska.
God, it's just completely fantastic.
Yeah.
What glacier do you think that one is? Is this one?
Well, we're out at sea, and this looks like Graves Harbor, doesn't it? Like. I'm just.
You think that Cape Spencer's over here?
To the right, yeah, I think so.
Or think that.
Oh, I see a marker on a rock here.
Oh, yeah.
No, Kitty, you had to go up in your chair. You had to go up in your chair.
Yeah.
I see a marker on a rock, and so I think it's probably close to Graves Harbor.
And the glacier back there.
This is Pelican, huh? And so what's this? Some sort of
Standard Oil.
So this is how the oil got to Pelican, huh? Oh, is this one of those drilling ships? Or is that, no, that's just a ship with a mast for
What does it say here?
On the back?
No,
Alaska Standard, San Francisco.
Oh.
So that's the oil. Well, yeah. Look at the smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the smokestack.
Yeah, Alaska Standard. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's look at some of these boats here in the harbor.
This Agile?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh no! It looks like it, but it's not.
Can you make out that name?
Because it's got the glass trim on the flying bridge, so I can't quite make it out. It looks like it ends with a 2, Roman numeral 2. No, or a T. It ends with a T or a 2. And then
No, Kitty.
this one. What is this one?
No.
I can't make that one out either.
Seal?
No. It's not the seal. The seal's the one that's very similar to the Scenic, right? And here's a big schooner. Is it the Atlas? No. Tordenskjold?
Tordenskjold. Maybe he's got a long name.
Yeah, it's got to be the Tordenskjold. And then there's the Greta, which makes sense because Toivo lived there at that time, right?
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Now we've identified those boats, and then this is taken from the Scenic, and you would have been tied up at the unloading dock because this other dock is not the unloading dock. So my most amazing memory of Pelican, Dad, was when I was probably 10, and I was on the Agile. I was 9. I was 9 because there was somebody else that was unloading you.
Oh.
So it would have been that first year when there was somebody else, Gary probably,
Gary
down in the hold unloading.
Oh, yeah.
And we were tied up, and I remember that there were people working on the tin roof up above. You can see like this one building here in the shot here. There's a tin roof there. But anyway, at the cold storage, there's tin roof.
Yeah.
And the tin roof overhung the edge of the pier a bit. and they were up there working, and then all of a sudden I heard a whoa, and this guy was sliding on his butt. He had lost his footing, and he had gone off the roof and into the water.
Yeah.
And so you were there too, obviously, because I was
Yeah,
on
I
your
remember
boat.
that.
And all of a sudden people were screaming, "Man overboard!" You know.
Yeah.
And
He was already coming up the ladder. Yeah, I remember that.
And
He was already coming up the ladder.
yeah, so the water was so disgusting back then too. It wasn't the fact that it would be so cold or anything the way I thought.
He
of
says,
it.
"I'll never do that again." He was shoveling off that seagull droppings up on the roof there, just fresh from down below when they needed money and he needed a job and they couldn't hire him, but they needed to get that seagull stuff, and nobody wanted to do that. So but that was in Petersburg, wasn't it?
No, this is Pelican.
Oh.
That was what I saw. I mean, and what's funny is, okay, this is the way memories are. Because
Petersburg.
I completely remember this, and I remember it happening in Pelican, and I remember seeing it. And what's funny is, this is the way our memories are. What if I never saw that? And what if all I did was I heard you tell that story?
Yeah, but
about Petersburg, and
I got
just
this
think,
Petersburg, and I was I was up. I've been checking the weights, and I was back in there a bit, and here this guy came running up from the dock there and started stripping off his clothes. He says, "I'll never do that again." But he came down the stern of the Scenic or whatever it was, and on the bow of this other boat were maybe 10 feet apart.
So he just cleared it.
And he slid down and just happened to drop down in that vacant spot there.
Okay, well, now what you just told me verifies that, okay, because my perspective, I was looking up and I saw him slide down. You didn't have that perspective because you were getting the weights. It was Pelican, and I was on the Agile, and I did see it. I saw the fall. You saw him once he got up to the top, because I couldn't see him at that point. I wouldn't have seen him, stripping off his clothes at that point. And when you and I checked stories, later on when you got back down to the boat, that's when you would have said, "Man, he was out of there before they were throwing the life rings." So yeah, that was Pelican, and it was you and me both saw that, and we both remember it correctly. That's amazing.
I never unloaded halibut in Pelican.
It wasn't halibut. It would have been just unloading salmon.
Huh?
It was just a regular salmon trip then, but that's what it was. You would check the weights on salmon too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But the captain wasn't on board the boat, during the loading. You would always go up. So, that's anyway. So that's what I remember. And then the other thing that I really liked about Pelican was that float plane dock. And the gooses and the beavers, they would come in, all day long.
Yeah.
And oh man, it would just be one plane after another, and boy, when the mail plane came, that was such a big deal.
Yeah.
We just loved having the mail plane coming. Sometimes we got cookies. So this picture, this is the next one in order here. We're out of order, but this is obviously the bow of the Agile.
Oh yeah.
Meeting something, the LeConte or something here. Who knows? Bigger than the LeConte, I guess. What the heck is up with this, Dad? You took this picture, and it's got Canadian flags flying on it. So it must have been, and looking at the scenery there, I'd say this is in Canadian waters, one trip north or south.
Paddle wheeler.
Yeah, and it's definitely, they're not fake paddles. I mean, it's really using the paddles. And look at this. Is this the guy at the wheel?
I'll be damned.
It doesn't even have a wheelhouse.
No.
And there's the smokestack for the steam engine.
A real old boat.
Holy crap. Yeah, and at this time, that wouldn't have even been it wouldn't have been a boat that was made, a replica. This would have been some, restored side wheeler.
Well, that's a Canadian flag, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah. I wonder if I can see a name. Yeah, I think we'll see a name here. Oh, come back. Can't quite make that out. It looks Russian. EVAZK. EVA.
No, it's a Sitka. No. There's maybe an S and a T and a V. And an A. And an H.
That is, I'm going to have to research that. Yeah, so eventually this will make it on a tape with an explanation. That's interesting. It's pretty, but it looks pretty useless.
Boy, I like that stack way up
yeah.
here.
Which makes me think that it was built to haul lumber. You know, that's why they would have the stack way up there. Make sure they didn't catch the lumber on fire.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, here it is from a different angle. Look at those side wheelers. Man, oh man, and it's still, you know, it looks like it could be rigged for sale, right? It's got everything it needs. What's all this structure?
Man, 4 men, huh?
I wonder if they were recreating some sort, because it's not used for hauling, or I wonder if they were recreating some historic voyage with that, you know, and you just happened to catch it.
You think that's the bow?
Yeah, and look at that. The bow is made like a sailing ship. I can't wait to find out more details about that. Kind of a pretty steamer there behind it. And there it goes away from you.
Who do you think took the picture?
Well, I know the photographer. Hey, here we got another shot to see that name, but it's just as blurry here. It's just as blurry. We'll find out. Paul Grigsby will know. Nice to have them around. There's a black-hulled ship here laying at the dock. That's pretty.
Canadian National.
Yeah, but that's a dying ship there, because they probably all stopped running. Now we're back out in the ocean on the Agile.
Yeah.
And lots and lots of birds. Boy.
Yeah.
Look at all of them. Man. Now we're near Lituya Bay on the Agile.
Oh, yeah.
And you got snow on the railing here, Dad.
That golly, yeah.
And what the heck? We're inside Lituya Bay.
Very inside.
Yeah, and lots of boats rafted together, having big prawn feeds.
Heaps of them.
Look at it. You took this from the comfort of your own. You see the water drops on the window here as you zoom in, because you took it from the comfort of your own.
A lot warmer inside.
Yeah, you betcha. But that's nice to see so many boats. Yeah, we didn't do it much, but boy, I sure enjoyed rafting with people. It was a chance to visit, especially on those boats that had kids on board. You know, it was very few of them, but it was nice to see other people. It was cozy inside that bay.
Yeah,
and of course, you'd always talk about the big wave. Well, this is the Agile.
Yeah,
and no flying bridge yet. So
still a varnished.
So was that just the first year that you had it this way?
What's this? Idle hour.
Idle hour. Yeah. Who had that?
I can't remember. I remember them on the air a lot.
And I'm trying to recognize the harbor here. Elfin Cove? No.
No.
It's too big. It looks like it's down here someplace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Down in Washington State someplace. Well, cruise in on another boat name here. Well, this boat is called the Dungeness, so that tells me it's down in Washington State someplace.
Yeah.
So, and then let's take a look at how you're rigged back here. Oh, you had tires for fenders at the beginning.
Yeah.
And, well, there's a seagull on a piling. That should tell us something. There's you got a good box, and you've got, just trying to see if you're rigged for tuna or something, you know, because maybe that would tell us. No. It is the Agile, and the first year, because you still have I don't think the name is painted on correctly yet. I think it's skinny letters at that point. Because I think you told me that one time you were tied up and there was somebody came by and said, "Hey, sir, I'll paint the name on your boat," and you would charge, you know, X amount of dollars. And that's basically where it once that guy etched that in or painted that in the first time, it stayed.
Yeah.
This looks like it was just done, you know, with a, you know, made probably by you with a quick brush.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when we built it, I didn't have time to do much of a job on.
So,
had to get going.
one thing I like about having that dark ironbark there is it makes the bow look like it's raked forward more.
Oh yeah.
It's a nice illusion. And then you've got just a pram or something up on top of the house there for a skiff. So a square thing. And no bow poles yet. No bow poles.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And that looks like Jim Harmon standing out in the snow on the deck of the Agile. That's who that looks like.
With an overcoat?
Yeah, that
Oh
was the
no!
first year.
Is that Jim Harmon
Yeah, it is.
in the yellow hat with the glasses? Sure, that's the first year with the Agile, Dad. There's that skiff on top.
And a coat, huh?
Well, in the rain.
It was snowing.
Yeah, and it's a 3/4 length coat. Yeah, it's snow. And that was that freezer. I remember, boy, you had a freezer out back there. And then you built your own freezer chest years later.
Yeah.
And I remember when we tried to get rid of that freezer box, we had Ralph Sorensen on board and me, and I don't know who else, but there were other people on board the boat, and we took off from Fisherman's Terminal on a very rare codfish jigging trip. And we were going to go over to Agate Pass and jig codfish. And Ralph, you know, he can always catch codfish. And I think Art Friswold was along too.
Oh yeah.
And so we took the Agile across. What?
I think Martha was.
Martha too. And the point of the trip was to get rid of that ice chest. You know, they would get rid of this freezer box. And halfway across, Puget Sound's deep. You know, I probably helped, and we got it to the railing and dumped it overboard.
And then floated.
And it floated because it's full of styrofoam. Of course it's going to float. And as soon as it hits the water, we all realize, oh yeah, that's not going to sink. So then we had to go back and pull it back aboard. But it was embarrassing because, like, not everybody on board the boat was used to this idea of just, you know, if it was a heavy piece of metal, something, dump it overboard. You know, that was pretty common back then. But oh my God, it floated. That was just great. We wind up on some millionaire's front beach property or something.
Yeah.
With Agile on it.
Yeah. So that's a cute picture, you know, with all the ice and snow. So obviously you're up in Alaska, and the hatch is the same. Yeah, it's just you know, they've got the stabilizers in their spots, so you have that all figured out. And this was the year that when you guys went tuna fishing, you lost the rudder. Wasn't that in the first year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You lost the rudder out tuna fishing. And it must have been a big storm, or maybe it wasn't even that big a deal. But you woke up in the morning and kicked it into gear.
No rudder. Yeah.
And the only reason it was lost was because there wasn't a chain or something to keep it. I mean, well, it had hopped out of its, it had gotten free, you know. But I think you're supposed to have a little chain to at least.
No, you're supposed to put cement over those nuts.
Ah.
And I didn't do that. I knew that everybody had cement over the coupling, you know. And I couldn't figure out why. And so why a monkey if that's the way launched it that way without any cement. And then down off of Oregon there, it woke up in the morning and there was no rudder.
And then you had
then we were you along?
No.
Okay. Yeah, somebody it was Jim Harmon. And yeah, and so we had to go into all the way into that bay in Oregon down there.
Oh, down Newport?
No, down south of that, I think.
Was it Eureka?
And
Eureka?
so we were steering with the stabilizer. Had one stabilizer out, and I figured out that you could steer that way by pulling it in and then letting it out, and northwest wind was blowing us along, you know. Mm-hmm. And it worked fine for me. But Jim didn't have patience, so he had to be trying to scrub down the boat, and then and so
wow.
When we lost it, then he had to make a complete loop, and then get back. And he did that about 3 times, and then I had to steer. He just didn't have patience to do that. Yeah.
John, we'll go to the next picture now. And what do we got? Well, there's the captain out there in the ice.
Yeah, bare hands.
It looks like herring getting cut up here, but
yeah, it looks like herring.
But were you plug cutting back then?
Huh?
Did you have to plug cut your herring for trolling back then, or weren't you using firecrackers? You know, the little frozen guys.
Yeah, maybe.
What's this red?
That must be the lifeboat.
Okay, so it's not up on top of the house. No, there's something up on the top of the house. Oh, maybe this was one of those. It's got square sides. Huh.
I can't remember.
This looks like a ladder. You got a ladder.
Anyway, sure some snow.
Yeah, she's a fine boat. And there's Jim. You tied alongside somebody there. Yeah, and that's definitely herring getting cut up.
Oh, that's me sitting there, isn't it?
No, that's Jim.
Oh, yeah?
This time,
Jim Harmon.
Jim Harmon.
Do you know what boat we're alongside of?
Well, there's still snow on the dock here, so I bet you this town here, this looks like the outside part of Elfin Cove to me. This looks like the dock at Elfin Cove, but not on the inner harbor. This looks like on the outside.
Yeah, maybe.
That's just what
There
it looks
weren't many boats around that early.
Yeah. So this cast of characters, you got Jim Harmon in the middle, and then you got Art Thieberg on the left,
Oh, yeah.
and then Ed Bosley, who's wearing?
No, not Bosley.
Red hat, because I think that there's another picture like this. No, it's not. Is it Roger?
No.
It would be before my time. Let's take a look here at the next picture. The Agile's looking good.
Yeah, damn good.
Yeah, it's the Pat B2, you see, outside the deep sea. That's why I thought it was Bosley.
Oh, yeah.
In the red hat here. But I only knew Ed Bosley as an old man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. Yeah.
So I
Deep sea is sure painted up nice there.
yeah, boy, yeah, in the springtime. It would,
Yeah.
it would look nice. Oh, no, there's Bosley. He's on his boat.
Yeah.
That's Bosley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, So yeah, I don't know who the other guy was. Well, the only other guy I know that would wear a hat was Dick Quant. Dick Quant, but that's not Dick Quant.
No, that isn't true.
Anyway, it kind of looks like that harbor at Elfin Cove, and it could be because that would make sense that you guys were there. And now we've jumped to your nephew Joe, and in this next picture here, he's holding another tuna. You got a bunch there, and the different tuna are warm-blooded, so you have to like let them cool off before you put them down in the hold. And he must be just putting them down in the hold now because I see the hatches open.
Yeah.
And there's another picture here of Joe holding up the tuna. I think we're getting close to the end. There's Joe holding one broadside. It was always great to be tuna fishing because you could move. The boat was going fast enough that you weren't getting bored. Now this is Uncle Oscar in the back of the Agile.
Oh.
And
Boy, it's rough, huh?
yeah, it looks like an exciting day. And it never felt so bad though because it was warm.
Yeah.
You know, whereas up in Alaska, if you're on the Fairweather grounds and that, it's miserable.
Yeah.
But you've got the girdies are covered in visqueen.
Yeah.
Get that damn albacore blood off of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, it looks like that is such a cozy cockpit on the Agile. It's nice and deep.
Yeah.
The railing is high enough that you're not worried you're going to fall out.
Yeah.
Another shot there with Uncle Oscar looking to the back, and he's pulling in a tuna. And it was great that you didn't have to.
It took him a long time to get a fish in.
Oh,
One time he was struggling away and finally got it up to the boat, and then he lost it.
Oh no. That well, and the wonderful thing about the tuna fishing was that the gear was all manipulated by hand, and everything was on the surface. You could tell if you had a fish.
Yeah.
You can see the snubbers.
Boy, look at that, those white caps.
Yeah, that's northwest. Yeah.
Man.
Now we're back up to Alaska.
Keep seeing the last?
I was thinking Klokkachev, but it could be. If it's Cape St. Elias, I don't know.
I don't think so. Boy, that's impressive, though, huh? Looks like something that may be down by Craig somewhere.
Oh, okay, and then I would not remember it. We didn't. I did not go to Craig much with you.
Yeah.
And there's another steamer. Got some containers on board, so containers were already invented.
Yeah.
And we're on the Agile anyway, so it's
That's a big ship.
That's a big ship. That's surprising. And now it's back on the first year with the Agile, because you don't have your big box yet back there. You just got this little box.
Oh, yeah.
And there's Jim Harmon.
Yeah.
And again, he's enjoying some nice waves here, it looks like. Yeah.
Boy, it
There's
was
the other
rough
half of
that day,
picture.
huh?
Yeah, that was rough.
Man.
Yeah, look at that. Nice and
God.
sporty. What I liked about when you were tuna fishing with a following sea like this, you could actually, and the fish were biting, you could see the tuna moving through the swell, just like a surfer. So you'd see them move across and strike. And that you could never see that when you were salmon fishing.
No. Yeah, I'm sure happy you got those pictures. Golly.
Now we're back on the Scenic. We have time traveling. And is this the guy that you said was useless?
I don't recognize that guy. He looks useless.
Some of them were on there just for a trip, too. They were just.
Well, he can pose for a picture.
Oh, there's the Lynn
And this, I recognize immediately
And
that this is
Supreme.
Baronoff.
Huh?
This is Baronoff.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the Supreme and the Lynn R. Gosh, what a clear
Yeah,
picture.
I remember when we got together.
Oh, and we've got a float plane in here too.
Yeah.
And that's again Alaska Coastal. Isn't that the logo with the two birds?
Yeah.
Coast Ellis?
Ellis, yeah.
Ellis, okay.
Yeah.
Because they merged to make Coastal. Yeah, the Linnar, that's Baranoff.
Yeah.
Julie recognized this right away when she saw it. She goes, "Oh yeah, Warm Springs."
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was like, wow. Yeah, because matter of fact, I'll still, if you look to the left on that picture, there's the waterfall. See?
Yeah.
But because of all the snow here, you don't recognize that that's a waterfall, but that's what it is. Running in the spring, must be the Linnar again. Yep. So the Linnar is a beautiful boat, and I don't remember ever seeing it. Did it sink or something, or who had it? Do you know?
That was our oil man. You remember, Ma? That was our
Reynolds?
the guy when we lived next door.
Yeah, Reynolds?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is his first name?
I can't remember the first name. Frank?
Arnold?
Arnold. Arnold Reynolds.
He was an interesting guy.
Yeah, a beautiful boat. Wow.
Yeah.
So you met him because he was your oil man? He was already a troller, huh?
You knew him before, didn't you?
Those trollers were delivering oil in the wintertime.
Oh, I see.
Works
Not all
out
of
fine.
them, but some of them did.
Huh?
Yeah, and I did know about that. Yeah, that's right.
I said some of them had a chance to do that, but not all of them.
What is it, Supreme?
Yeah, that must be. It's the three of you still running together. Now, that must be the Linnar again. Boy, what a great scenery.
That's an interesting mountain there. Isn't that nice?
Yep. And still progressing along here. The three of you.
Man, there's a lot of snow up here.
Yep.
There's La Perouse Glacier here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
John Clausen.
And then, that's right. Now we're on the Lightly.
Oh.
As we can see, if John's in the back and his son is whistling.
Isn't it sad for them? They lost
Both
their
the
kids.
kids.
Just amazing.
Yeah, that Lightly is amazing. The Lightly is amazing. What an interesting design.
Is he still in
Yeah, I feel so bad. I mean, when I left Seattle Marine, I didn't keep in touch with him, and
you should call.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Where's this?
I'm trying to see what city this is. Now we've got a picture, and it's that's an odd tower there.
It must be Canada.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, that's right. Because look at the mountains behind it, or not. There's nothing here.
Canada,
Yeah, so I'm not going to recognize that town. That's Edmonds. That's Edmonds. That's where you launched the boat.
Oh, yeah.
It's real close. And this is me and my brothers. I'm throwing a piece of wood into the water there.
Yeah.
And my brothers are watching. Yeah. And I remember when the boat was being built, Ralph would nail together, get scraps of wood, something kind of fashioned it, probably saw it into a bow on one end, put a nail in the front, tie a string to it, put a house on it, and then give it to me, and I could throw it out into the water and pull it towards me, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, he was. And when we built the house, then he gave Eric some of his potato chips.
Oh.
And Eric just,
Well,
that's what he thought was so cool.
And when we were building the Agile, I remember that Art Friswold at Easter time gave me some of his little marshmallow peeps out of his lunch. His wife and I thought that was cute that his wife had packed in marshmallow peeps in his lunch. That was cute.
What? I never heard of that. Is it candy?
Yeah, so
Oh,
those
yeah,
little, you get
Yeah.
they're ducks and
I
chickens,
see.
you know, made out of
Oh,
marshmallow and
yeah,
yellow and
yeah,
pink. You see
yeah.
them, the peeps.
That is so cute. They were such a neat people.
Now we're going to BC Ferry. We don't need to talk about that. And now you're running north or south. Looks like you're heading for Alaska. Now here's a good picture. This one I like, and I blew it up, and I have this at home. There's a picture of me on the Agile.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Before I
so
got the box on there.
that was nice that my dad took a picture of that, because there's not very many pictures.
No,
You know.
I noticed that.
Before we got the freezer box on there.
Oh yeah, the freezer box is now gone because I think you had the freezer up on the roof at that time.
Oh, yeah.
I used to have night meat.
Yeah.
And we would have to, there it is, the freezer's upstairs.
Yeah.
And we would have to go upstairs. And then there was a tarp over the top of it. You had a custom cover made for it. And one time, my God, I remember it was blowing, we were heading for Pelican, and you told me, because I mean, it was a horrible wind, but it was a localized wind. It was coming from the ocean towards the land.
Oh, yeah.
But it was localized because there was no swell. There were no waves with it, really. But you told me it was blowing 90. And it was very concerning because the boat was heeled way over to the left, and we had to tie down everything. I mean, it was weird, and it was localized. It was probably, a high pressure and a low pressure meeting right there, and the air had to get towards the mountains real fast, and holy smokes, it was that was alarming. Anyway, I remember that we had to go up on the roof and tie down that cover, or we may have lost the cover that day. One or the other. But it was nighttime, and yeah. So here's another picture. The next picture is also of me holding up a fish with a big toothless smile.
Yeah.
Looks like a guy that's missing a tooth or two. Now I got the Princess Patricia again, but now painted white.
Oh, yeah.
And this one had staterooms on it, and that would have been a nice way to travel up and down the coast, I think. Nice wheelhouse. Boy, if you could be captain of one of those things, you really feel like you're captain of something. That is... And there's Einar, me, with that tuna fish this time.
Yeah.
I always hated having the cockpit cover boards right there because the blood would splatter all over them during the trip.
Oh.
And it was a hell of a thing to scrub them down with Brillo pads, That was a pain in
Hi,
the butt.
Kitty. What you doing?
Oh, he's the best.
Kitty,
What?
come on.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, tuna fishing was great, wasn't it? That was.
It really was, especially coming down from all that rain up north, and those rain and blow, and come down to that sunshine. Man, that was nice.
Yeah, I suppose I was 11 years old here. Man. That's right. I'm very sensitive to this.
Hey.
I'm very sensitive to sunshine. That's why I wear so many long sleeve shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because, and I think it's because I got sunburns all the time. From tuna fishing.
Oh, yeah.
And you even get that up in Alaska too. But you're so much of the time in Alaska was in short sleeve shirts. I'm sorry, tuna fishing with short sleeve shirts.
Yeah.
So what do we got here? Well, that's another. Oh, is this Middleton? No.
Kitty.
No, because this would have been a
No,
later
no.
picture, right? I don't know, but that's some sort of radar there. See that?
Yeah.
Or is
I
it a
don't
tower?
know. I don't know where the heck.
Be eating that. You want to go outside?
It's probably.
Yeah, you can go out there.
I wonder if it's like Whidbey Island or something. As you're running south. Who knows? Well, there's a mid-channel marker or research buoy. What? Coast Guard. Mid-channel marker? What the heck?
I don't know what the heck.
It says Coast Guard.
Putting out signals there, it looks like.
Huh. There it is again.
Not a tree anywhere on the shore there.
Well, that's an interesting observation. So I wonder where you are. Some tuna trip way down the coast? California? Here's Fisherman's Terminal back in the day.
Beloit Section looks swell there.
Isn't that gorgeous? And the EH.
Man.
And what's this double ender here? Can't tell. Switching over to the next.
I wonder if he's still alive.
The lighthouse?
Yeah, it looks like a lighthouse on a rock. So, is this out at Tatoosh Island?
Yeah, but this shoreline doesn't look right.
No, and Tatoosh Island is bigger than that. This is a rock. But that is a lighthouse on a rock.
Yeah,
Smokes.
and a buoy outside there.
Yeah, I don't recognize where that is. And now I'm back with my tuna fish again. I'll say something here on this one here, just because you never know who's going to hear these stories. But you see that the pole that's behind my back there, it's like this little flagpole thing, kind of like what the halibut guys had. But that was what was used for transferring mail between the boats. And I remember we used that several times.
Oh hell!
And we would if somebody wanted something from us, even a cup of sugar, you could just put it in a plastic bag and tie it to the top of the pole. Throw it overboard, and the boat would just follow behind you, and they'd pick it up, and then we'd do a circle behind them, and get the flagpole back, and we would get our mail that way as well. But it's nice, and that probably goes back to the old sailing days, that they would transfer things that way.
Yeah.
So there's back Beloit second at Fisherman's Terminal, and now the Agile at Fisherman's Terminal. Still early on. There's that freezer up on top.
Oh yeah.
Brand new main poles. It looks like they're freshly peeled. Yeah. And I don't think I have anything else to observe about them. You had those beautiful stainless steel vent covers on here, and you've got a story about your coming in contact with the stainless steel vent cover. It was pretty sharp on the open end of it. There, and you cut your hand pretty badly on that. I was not with you, but you had to go into town and get stitches in your left hand, I think.
Gee.
And you don't remember that. But no, that disrupted a trip. And I don't know if you were alone or if you had a crew member. And I don't remember who told me that story, but I don't think it was you.
This was before we got ironbark further down too here.
That's right. Yeah. So when you had the boat built, you knew that someday you'd probably want to fish halibut, but you had no immediate plans to fish halibut.
Yeah. But we got that done anyway.
Yeah. That's right.
Sure, pretty boat.
Yeah, and the Fisherman's Terminal was so vibrant and alive back then.
Yeah.
This was, I felt like it was my neighborhood. And, yeah. That was a big deal. There you are on the Agile boat, and this is a picture that I probably took.
Think there's snow along here?
Yeah. I think that this was, anyway, when the slides were scanned, this was the way it was, and it's like the end of a roll or something. So, and now we're back to the beginning. And we'll talk about this one some other time.
You know who she is?
Well, the one on the left is my mother.
No, but this one.
Mom knows who that one is.
It is Janet Hurlin.
Oh, yeah.
Rowena's mom?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow.
Hurlin. Oh, yeah, you're Rowena. Yeah, did you go to school?
No, didn't she have the same birthday as me or something? I just remember that name.
Yeah, there was that saying. Yeah, she gave you some pumpkin. She was the one that gave you pumpkin to put in your
the hat. Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
The mom did, or
Well, I don't know if the kids, if they had drawn it or but that's where you got them.
okay.
And you stuck them in there, and my God, you didn't use that, and then we used it in the following winter, and you remember it,
Yeah.
that there was pumpkin in that little zipper,
Yeah.
you know,
That's
little pocket. Yeah, that was
okay. This session has now come to an end.
Oh yeah, it's just fantastic.
So,
Maybe.
and well, it's great that you're willing to do that, and you get to see the pictures. And now I recorded your voice, so we will always remember your stories that go with the pictures. You see,
Oh, yeah.
because you're forgetting stuff, I'm forgetting stuff. So it's good to get that done. And thanks for taking so many pictures. And that's just a portion of it. That's probably only 20%. I've still got lots more slides to go over with you, and we'll do that, the next time. Because I'm out of time here now.